to get through it. It would be Devon Peterson, Mason Whitlock and Ted Everts awaiting in that group. A few dangerous players, and obviously he's going to take 2 of these with him, so it's not going to be easy, is it, in any group?
No, I think, without being disrespectful to those players, we feel like Devon's a little bit in transition with his game. Mason Whitlock is still on the up right now. Ted Everts has had a few issues. So maybe that Group C might be good, even with darts like that. John Henderson would have no problem in that Group C campaign. It was a disappointing start to Monday. It was
Hendo, but will he be leaving the stage empty-handed? Harrison's been fine on these combination finishers, and he gets another one for a 3-1 win.
Andreas Harrison.
Henderson beaten by Harrison in the morning's opening match. The beard to be feared is a man to be revered. He played some good stuff in that game. 82.46, actually the lower average of the two, but Henderson missing 6 starts at the double at the end of legs there. Harrison 50% strike rate in that department. Really good stuff from him. But it's all about the next game today, because whoever wins it will be in pole position to win the group and make it through to finals night. It's Robert Thornton against Neil Duff next. Interesting, isn't it? You start on a double and then go treble-treble. He wanted to go treble-treble and finish on a double, but Thornton here wants double 8, no problem. 2-2, and every single one of their 3 meetings in this group has gone to a last leg decider.
Against 40.
Just stop for a moment there, and that's probably why. Look what he's looking at.
No score.
I think the dart actually dipped as it stopped, and what a chance here for Thornton. Not the first dart, 78 points.
Double-double, hasn't he?
I think he'll go treble 18.
Well, you were right, but I was right. He should have gone double-double.
Neil, you require.
Now Duff's got a clear look at the double that was blocked at the last attempt, and this time he clears the blockage, he clears Robert Thornton, and he leaps to the top of the table. Duff gets a crucial win in the tussle between the top 2. He's the first on to 16 points and now sits in pole position to win Group A and make it through to finals night, and his defence of the title continues. Duff in pole position in P1. Coming next, Scott Mitchell, who's in 3rd, takes on 5th place Richie Burnett.
We could actually put him in room 101. Perfect start. Beautiful second. Double 16.
Game shot.
Where have you been all week, Richie Burnett?
Richie Burnett.
And the way this man was playing. But what's that line he said to you? He made 2 fortune and spent 3.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't stay there. 57 points left.
170.
Well, that'll do, Richie.
160.
Double 3 left. Oh, you can't see his reaction for Scott Mitchell's head. But you can see he was reacting somehow.
100.
Having learned that he'd left himself on double 3.
6.
Now it's awkward. Now is it impossible? I'm surprised he went left. He must see enough just next to that double 19.
On the second
and that's the reason why I'm
Burnett.
sat in the comms box. He touches his head there. So he had a decision to make. He's got a tiny bit of the left-hand side of that double 3 to see. Quite a bit on the right-hand side. He moves to the left. What a dart.
It requires
missed
68.
opportunity for the match. Will it be punished?
It's a sensible route from Mitchell, but he doesn't seem to know what he's got left. Stays there, so 32 for 36.
32.
Yes, you often make your decisions before a dart was thrown, but it felt like he was thinking of the Big 12. Another opportunity for Burnett, surely this time. Good marker. Good win. Richie Burnett moves to 10 points. Is that the end of Scott Mitchell in his Group A campaign? We felt he had to be immaculate today, Scotty Dog, and win 5 out of 5. So it's a good win for Richie Burnett, but I'm also thinking, is it a big win for Neil Duff or Robert Thornton as well? All smiles all around. Absolutely cracking to watch Richie Burnett. It's smiles are around. Scotty Dog will be back. Nothing to separate them throughout the game. A couple of missed opportunities for the Welshman, but he got there in the end, and that 101 finish to start proceedings was a real highlight. As we move on for another incredibly big game for top of the table Neil Duff. He's up next against John Henderson. At the time in the game, it sort of come as a bit of a shock. It would have been a wonderful moment, just like that for John Henderson.
And he did, sorry Glenn, he did say, didn't he, when the dart left his hand for the ball, he thought it was in. Neil Duff sees that one go in.
Neil Duff.
As Glenn alluded to there, really polished performance. Really has set his sights on showing John Henderson who's boss the last couple of days. And at the moment, it's the Duff man.
Neil Duff.
Seems the favourable way when you're on 76 these days. Duff goes 4 points clear. 2 wins out of 2 on this crucial day for Neil Duff. That was a very, very polished performance there. John Henderson played his part in a terrific game. But Neil Duff, who was averaging over 100 after that second leg, it's maybe just chatting a bit about the game, but it's gone picture perfect so far for Neil Duff. In the end, average mid-80s. 104 finish to start proceedings there. Good on the outer ring. Just a really solid performance. And for John Henderson, that's 2 defeats out of 2, despite looking good in that game. But Neil Duff goes 4 points clear. And Robert Thornton will have to respond when he's next up. But before that game, 2 players who've won a match already today. It's Richie Burnett against Andreas Harrison. Nothing slow about Andreas Harrison in this leg. In fact, it was a superb performance in the end for the Super Swede. That was excellent. Richie Burnett, who won his opening game, was looking good early doors. But Andreas Harrison just held on. He doesn't give too much away. He puts himself into 3rd position right now. Really good averages. Was averaging 90 throughout that game. Just sort of dipped at the end, just under there, 88.73, but very acceptable in these circumstances. And once again, excellent on the outer ring. A superb performance from Andreas Harrison. The big games keep on coming. Robert Thornton's up next. He needs to hang on to the shirt tails of Neil Duff. He plays Scott Mitchell. It would be the leg difference. But I do like that table coming up throughout on Wednesday just to keep you updated.
180.
Don't write off the thorn just yet, Glenn.
Suddenly Thornton finds top form and now 80 points away.
42.
Getting into the match.
Require 80. Game shown the 3rd leg.
From absolutely nowhere, 180 and then a combination 80 finish in 2 darts. The old-fashioned way. You don't see many of the players that trust themselves to hit a treble. No dramas. Big 18.
Oh, it's a bit of a disaster, isn't it? It was a 2.
40.
So 13 left the bull. Thornton, it was a 2 that was sort of blocking the bull a bit as well. Mitchell can fill his boots here. Double 5. Thornton
30.
breathes again.
Robert,
yes, you don't need commentary. 25. You can just see by the reaction of Scotty Dog. Unexpected chance for Thornton. Sometimes that's what you need.
70.
But he hasn't taken it. Mitchell will be back.
Scott, you require 10.
To move to 12 points. Level with Andreas Harrison. It's double 5 to Scott Mitchell. And he gets there in the end.
The match. Scott Mitchell.
Has that the opportunity for Scott Mitchell? He takes that, but for Robert Thornton, it's 2 losses out of 2 on a day when he went into it joint top. Has his chance gone? Scott Mitchell so he knows where the camera is these days. A little cheeky wink to us there, but for Robert Thornton, a tough defeat. And the big win he ascends in that match is Neil Duff, who stays 4 points clear. But for Scotty Dog, he's now looking good for a Group B campaign. His first win of the day. And next up, it is John Henderson against Richie Burnett.
And on the development tour in 2016, a player called Daniel Cole produced perfection.
140. Richie require 104.
Oh, this is beautiful from Burnett. Potential 12-darter. He started this match sensational.
Second leg. Richie
and then went to
Burnett.
pot a little bit, but that is some response. He's saying to himself, where have you been?
John to throw first.
Rocky Wilson
Richie require
heard
180.
stories of people standing behind him, seeing how he's thrown the darts and wondering how on earth they've gone in. Well, these are going in for Burnett.
And Henderson ain't watching.
Game
He won't
shot
like
the
what he
third
hears now.
leg. Richie Burnett.
It was a wry smile on the face of John Henderson as Richie Burnett clearly was suffering a
Well,
little
it's
bit. You could see
Richie
him
to throw
holding his
first.
back. It's been a performance of ups and downs. It was nearly another downs there. He nearly fell to the ground. But I promise I won't say
20.
that line again.
John, you require 10.
Well, our thing's starting to look up for John Henderson, who needs double five to keep the game alive.
No score.
Very rare Henderson plays a player who moves more than him on the hockey.
Richie require 20.
Same target this time for Burnett and a
Game
different outcome.
shot
2
of
wins
the
out of 3 for
match.
Richie Burnett.
Richie
The
Burnett.
ups and downs of Richie Burnett for the week, but isn't that nice to see? John Henderson was shaking his head at times as he stood behind Richie Burnett, was falling to the floor, pinging 180s, 160 starts, complemented with some bizarre scoring as well, but Richie Burnett finally gets over the line. Like I said, that's 2 wins out of 3. The real highlight was that 118 finish. Really good at finishing the legs. Like I said, such an up and down game. Another massive game coming up and a pivotal moment for Neil Duff. He's up next against Scott Mitchell.
86.
All these new words, but yeah, looking forward to seeing him play. And Scott Mitchell looking good for 2-2 right now. It'll be the bullseye if it is the case. Just double checking the score there. That would have left 7-7. Resets. Bullseye.
Game shot on the 4th.
Right in the eye of the
Scott
ball
Mitchell.
and levels up the match. So this just might be a
Fifth
turn
and
being
final leg, it's
taken
Neil to throw
in this
first.
race to finals
Game
night.
And smack
shot and
bang in the middle. He
match.
gets there in the
Neil
end.
Duff.
It was missed opportunities for Scott Mitchell, but Neil Duff was leading that match 2-0. He probably saw that winning line, and it looks like potential qualification. He dips one toe into Saturday night. Robert Thornton can still catch him, but this group has been all about Neil Duff. Played 3, won 3 today. Forget those averages, those checkout ratio. Just showed that there was a lot of tension, a lot of nerves for Neil Duff, but he got the job done. As we move on to the next game, what can Robert Thornton do about that? He's up next against Andreas Harrison.
When he beat Phil Taylor in the final, this time narrowly missed the target, and now Harrison wants 2 tops. There's one of them. Oh, what a way that would have been to win it.
114. Robert, you require 25.
What a conclusion. We said he liked double 4. It was good for him in the last leg. Down to the wire.
21.
Well, Robert Thornton rallied,
Andreas, you require 20.
fought, and forced his way back into this match and into the equation for winning this group. But it's Neil Duff who wins Group A after Andreas Harrison ends Thornton's chances of doing so himself. Duff then through to finals night thanks to his own work and the good work of Andreas Harrison. Both of those players winning all 3 of their matches so far on Wednesday. And that win for Harrison means Thornton can't make it. He'll have a fight on his hands to get through to Group B. Harrison's just levelled points with Thornton, 14 apiece. Duff too far ahead of them. He's through to finals night. His title defence at Double Trouble continues. He will be there on Saturday. And Glad and I are going to reflect on all of the action so far today before Duff returns to take on Richie Burnett.
Richie
So the
require
undefeated run may be ended by Burnett. Duff thinks it's done.
20.
And the group winner is
Game
right.
shot and the
No
match.
damage done to Duff,
Richie
who
Burnett.
is the Group A victor and will be going through to finals night. But Richie Burnett enjoys another victory. He's having a decent day actually, Burnett, and he's telling the referee Owen Biggs all about it right now. He's won 3 of his 4 matches and he's the first to beat Neil Duff today. A 3-1 win for Burnett there. 30% on the doubles. That 62 checkout early on really changed things and gave him the authority in that encounter. And he could have his best day yet. 4 from 5 possible. He takes on Robert Thornton in his final match. And he's just put himself firmly in the picture to get into Group B. Thornton will be hoping to stop him. He takes on John Henderson after the break. Double 12. Another wayward one from Henderson.
72.
Can't seem to get it right.
Robert, you require 150.
Does he go bull? Does he stay there? Stays there for double 15. And what a finish that is from the Thorn. Henderson struggled towards the end of the leg.
And 4 tops. And a return to Wynnum Ways for Robert Thornton. And once again, reminiscent of yesterday's bounce back, this time after 3 defeats. He wins the All-Scottish Class, and Robert Thornton now looking good for that place in Group B. Another game still to come for Robert, but he'd be delighted with that victory there. Just seemed to be walking a little bit gingerly there, but still a terrific performance in a sense that John Henderson averaged higher in that game. But that 150 finish when John Henderson dominated the leg, there was no comeback from that for Henderson. As we move on for a very, very important game for that Group B, it's Scott Mitchell up next against Andreas Harrison. It's again a terrific camera angle. It looked almost impossible. But that is part of the way Andreas Harrison plays the game. Remember, Scott Mitchell loves a double 19. It's his plan B double to go for. Chatting away to himself.
Game shot on the
and
first.
sinks it with the last star. Mitchell leads 1-0.
Second leg, it's Andreas to throw first.
Harrison hasn't won a leg against Mitchell all week. Will that change here?
60.
It won't. And it won't happen
Scott,
if
you
Mitchell
require
can land
40.
tops to keep this Group B battle wide open.
Game shot.
In it goes. Scott Mitchell once again
Scott
whitewashes Andreas Harrison.
Robert, you require 160.
Well, you were asking for a player not to start on a double. We got that with Scott Mitchell in the last one, and the other one was we haven't yet to see a whitewash.
Can Burnett avoid being brushed? Last chance to do it. And he does get off the mark. That will be a relief for Richie because nobody likes that feeling.
Robert, you require 60.
But there's no better feeling than winning. That's a little bit close to the treble 20. But Robert Thornton just did his own professional job. Robert Thornton, as we know, will be in Group B. He finishes a terrific campaign in second place. And for Richie Burnett, we now know he will be in Group C. In a very tight, congested section of this league table. Robert Thornton just leaving the stage. Neil Duff knows what he's doing. Robert Thornton cements his Group B. Scott Mitchell, Andreas Harrison, all to play for still. And Andreas Harrison is up next. He plays Neil Duff.
Feet
36.
looking for a whitewash win, and he's doing it against the man who's won the group. Hurrah for Harrison.
Andreas Harrison.
Defeat for Duff. But it does not affect the fact that he has already advanced to finals night. The double trouble champion will defend his title on Saturday. That's the next time we'll see Neil Duff. Andreas Harrison, we will see tomorrow. But in which group? Well, we're going to find out in the next game. Harrison currently sits in third place and is heading towards Group B. But if Scott Mitchell can beat John Henderson, then he will replace him. Stay tuned to see which way it goes.
Seen that fantastic 150 finish earlier from Robert Thornton. Mitchell will be back. But there's the pressure.
180. Scott, you require
Can
25.
Mitchell save himself? That was a bit close for comfort. Double 8 for deadlock.
9.
And now Henderson can get his first win
Jordan, you
and
require
condemn Mitchell
55.
to joining him in Group C for the rest of the week.
Final game of the day. Final day of this Group A campaign, and a win finally for John Henderson on day 3. And Scott Mitchell now knows he will be applying his trade tomorrow in Group C, and just looking at his body language there, I think he really fancied that game and wanted that task of going into Group B. But Scotty Dog is very capable of coming through that Group C, as is John Henderson, so they will be playing each other again tomorrow, as will Richie Burnett, who joins them in that Group C. And for Group B, it will be Andreas Harrison and Robert Thornton. Not an awful lot between him in the stats there, just better finish from John Henderson. Missed opportunity for Mitchell in there, but Henderson finally gets that win under his belt. We'll be chatting with Neil Duff in the studio after this short break and just talking over the past few days. Join us for that.
We are here with the winner of Group A on Double Trouble Week, Neil Duff, defending the title, of course, this week. And Neil, we mentioned it last week, you're here for a 3-week stint, so it must be ideal to have got the 2 days off.
Yeah, that's I said it's going to be a big help even getting into next week then, that I can just recharge and reset and go again, yeah.
And start of the day, you had that big match with Robert Thornton, and me and Glenn felt it might be pivotal. It seemed to go that way. You went on to win your next 2 as well. Robert lost his next 2, and you got the job done quite early. Yeah,
I kind of, as I had it laid out, I had to win my first 3 matches. I could win my first 3 matches to beat Robert and Hendo. They were the 2 big ones. That was the big ones were, and then hoping and praying that I didn't play Richie till the later stages, because he's a nightmare.
You don't like playing him, do you?
No, I don't. I know a lot of it's just his game, but that old saying, it takes a wise man to play the fool sort of thing, you know, and I kind of get sucked into it when I shouldn't have. I should have more experience in that, but yeah, we managed to get through to Saturday night, I'll put it right.
The last couple of games, did you just maybe lose a little bit of that mental intensity because you're already through it? It's harder then, isn't it, to keep that focus?
Yeah, I wanted to do the card today. I wanted to do 5 out of 5. Kind of went 3 on Monday, 4 yesterday, and do 5 today. Absolutely just went to bits. In fairness, I got lucky against Scott too. Terrible game, but the 2 of us were very, very snatchy in it. But once you actually get over the line, you go, you've made Saturday night. It's kind of easy just for your brain just to take your foot off the gas, you know.
Yeah, you used the word pivotal, that opening game with Robert Thornton, and I actually thought the John Henderson game was the best of Neil Duff. I'm very impressed. I use the words meticulous in preparation. I've sort of like sharing accommodation with him and just watching how he prepares himself and going out for walks and whatever. And I thought with the way he got through the John Henderson game was really impressive. You're going to be nervy. You're going to be that 3rd game with Scott Mitchell. It was a poor game. And the only thing I've seen wrong for Neil Duff this week is occasionally it's not the darts that's letting him down. It's the turning the back on Richie Burnett. It's getting upset when Robert Thornton's talking. Don't show your opponent any weakness. He's good enough to win it this week, and that's the only advice, but I've been super impressed with the man.
Advice you're going to take, Neil, or is it easier said than
absolutely. Done? As, you know, Glenn and I actually talked about it before, but I'll watch things back, and occasionally I will watch back just to get the criticism from the commentary, to see where I can improve. Yeah, things like the Richie game, I shouldn't be falling into potholes like that. I really should know better, but when you're up there, and especially even the Scott Mitchell game, I knew what was on the line.
Yeah.
If I won that there, my foot was already halfway through. It's a Saturday night, so yeah, I'll work on it. But it's nice actually. I've been playing now for like 10 days straight, so having 2 days off just to recoup, and then I'll be fresh for Saturday night. And
you've stuck with the darts as well. We saw you change a little bit last week. Has that been a conscious thing, or is it just that you felt better with them this week?
Yeah, just kind of. Whenever you're actually standing up there and you're questioning, am I holding this dart properly? Am I holding it in the right place? Am I release wrong? And tinkering. I'm not usually one for tinkering about too much, but I've stuck with my own Red Dragon darts, and yeah, I'll see them through. Yeah.
Well, I'll give him his second bit of advice then, is when you get on that hockey, the worst thing, it crucified my game, is that you can't think about your grip, you can't think when you're on that hockey. In fact, when I've got the mic in my hand talking about Neil, his process is perfect. He has that little move to the left, and he has this beautiful backswing and a release of the dart. So to hear him talking about his grip and his release, he needs to get that out of his mind, because for me, looking on as someone who loves to study throws right now, I think he ticks all the boxes. I think he's been terrific this week. preparation and delivery.
Well, something to study here. This is the Group A table at the end of 3 days of action at Double Trouble 2, and Neil Duff sitting nicely at the top of it. Robert Thornton, well, his fight really sort of ended halfway through the day. But Andreas Harrison getting third place ahead of Scott Mitchell. You could see the disappointment for Mitchell in not making Group B at the end there.
I think the answer, we weren't sure, because I think the fancy Group C, the players, I think Group B looks really strong, and despite the fact it's 3 from 5, but I think there was obvious disappointment there because you're playing on the night, etc. there. But Andreas Harrison, nowhere near his best, still gets into third place. That's good signs for him. I expect Henderson and Mitchell to come through that Group C.
Well, let's just show you the group breakdown for the rest of the week. I'm going to actually ask Neil to turn pundit for this one. We can see the remaining groups. Just give us a couple of names, Neil, who you expect to be joining you on Saturday night.
Group B, I would think. I know you've heavily backed Jeff Smith. Adam Lipscomb, he'll be on Saturday night. 100% he'll be there. And I reckon then the bottom 3, any one of the three of them can make it, it's going to be who actually goes up there and performs. I know Robert's kind of struggling a wee bit with his back. Yeah. Hopefully that there improves. Andreas probably not seen the best of him yet. But Bradley's no slouch. He knows how to play the game. I'm not sure if he's ever played double in, double out, but yeah, it could be an interesting one. Group C, it's anyone. Hendo will go. Hendo, I think John Henderson and probably Scott Mitchell.
That's exactly what you said in comments.
He's a great pundit, by the way. If he's got 2 days off, get him in there. He speaks fantastically well, as good as his darts is, doesn't he speak well?
Give me a job for a couple of days, did he?
Yeah. Right, speaking of Scott Mitchell, actually, we did get a quite bizarre moment. We said it would happen at some point, and it did earlier today. For the first time at Double Trouble, somebody forgot to start on a double, and it happened to be someone that spends a lot of time up here, so we're going to enjoy reminding him about that, aren't we, Glenn?
Well, we were talking about how professional he is at this stage. He was winning the game 2-0 against someone he's dominated this week, and then did that. Yeah, good moment.
Yeah, trouble getting in. Richie Bennett at one point actually had trouble getting the darts out of the board. That was another comedy moment, the dart nearly doing some damage to him and the referee Owen Binks. So just talk us through this, Glenn, because Owen Binks does wear glasses. They had to turn into sort of safety goggles for him in this moment, didn't they?
Listen, we could do a show reel, and sometimes when you're frustrated, because all 3 of them darts are well thrown, you snatch the dart out. Yeah, and that was the first of 2, and I think the next 3 darts he did exactly the same as well. He's like I said, to play must be an absolute nightmare. But don't let the other sides be strong mentally when you play Richie Bennett, and let the darts do the talking.
Back to the serious stuff, Neil. Of course, you won the first Double Trouble event. You threw to the final of the second one. How big has this been for you to come back and try and defend this title, and how determined are you now that you're in the Saturday session?
There's a different mindset than actually winning a title and then defending a title. You don't want to give it up. You don't want to give it up. Hopefully, just in the same way as the last time, I didn't do everything right during the week, but Saturday night I was a beast, and I'll be a beast in here this Saturday night as well.
Well, you've made it. Well done. Thanks for your company. Enjoy your 2 days off. Much deserved. Glenn, we'll see you again tomorrow. Duff makes it through. Do you think that he's the one to beat there on Saturday, whoever gets there?
It was the best group here we've been involved with, and the best player won. Super darts, Neil Duff.
There we go. Thanks for your company today. See you tomorrow. Hope to see you tomorrow as well. It'll be double trouble tomorrow. We've got 2 sessions of darts. Group C getting underway from 1 p.m, then Group B from 10. But Neil Duff has made it through to finals now, and the Duff Double Trouble title defence goes on.